Last lecture we studied the basic of entropy, that is our chapter 8, sorry, chapter 7. So in this chapter we will in this lecture we will continue the entropy. The first topic we'll see today is entropy principle. Entropy principle. So the general entropy equation is given by ds is always greater than equal to delta Q by T. So we know that for an isolated system, if we take an isolated system, for isolated system delta Q is equal to 0. Hence we can write ds for an isolated system is always greater than equal to 0. Okay, so this is the important point here. Next, if we consider a reversible process, we can say for reversible process ds of iso will be equal to 0, and for irreversible process, this is for reversible, this is for irreversible, ds for isolated system will be greater than 0. Okay, thus we can say that entropy of a isolated system never decreases. Okay, next, from this what we can say that energy of an isolated system never decreases, it always increases. It always increases or remain constant. Okay, so an entropy of an isolated system, it should be entropy of an isolated system never decreases, it always increases or remains constant. Okay, this is known as the principle of increase of entropy. So this statement is also known as principle of increase of entropy. Okay, so we know that our universe is also known as isolated system. So similarly we can say that our universe, entropy change of universe is also greater than equal to 0 always. Okay, and entropy change of universe can be written as entropy change of system plus entropy change of surrounding, and this sum must be greater than equal to 0. Okay, so we know that entropy of entropy of system and surrounding individually may decrease, increase, or remain constant. But if we consider overall summation of entropy change of system and surrounding, then it should be always be greater than equal to 0. Okay, so Clausius summarized first and second law of thermodynamics in the following word. He mentioned that from this only he mentioned 2 points. First is, who mentioned it? Clausius mentioned these 2 points. First is energy of universe is constant. This is our first law of thermodynamics. Okay, law of energy conservation. The second law of thermodynamics. This says that entropy of universe tends toward a maximum. So from here we can say that also write the principle of energy increase of entropy as entropy of an isolated system always increases and becomes a maximum at the state of equilibrium of so let's say that the entropy of the universe or isolated system varies with some other parameters. So we will draw a graph for this. Let's say this y-axis represent entropy of universe or isolated system, okay, and on the x-axis we represent some other property on which the entropy is dependent, okay. So when we plot this, so we see that let's say this is the position, the property of, at this property the system attains equilibrium, okay. So we see that the entropy of the universe keeps on increasing until it reaches the equilibrium, state of equilibrium, and then after that it becomes constant. So this is what is mentioned in the above definition. So we know that it is only possible to move in this way. So universe's entropy always increases and will acquire the maximum value here S max, enter the maximum value at the point of equilibrium. Equilibrium state, okay. So our next topic for today will be fixed mass energy entropy, fixed mass entropy analysis. So in fixed mass entropy analysis, we know that for a general irreversible system, ds can be written as ds, or for a general system ds is represented dq upon t plus s delta s of generation, okay. Now we will take three cases. Let's say case 1 is reversible process. Reversible process, okay. Another case 2 is irreversible. Case 2 is irreversible. So we will study the values of what will be the delta ds value for both the. So let's start with the reversible. In case of reversible process, we know that delta s generation is equal to 0. So let's consider three cases here. First condition is heat addition. In case of heat addition, and the second condition is heat rejection. third point is adiabatic. Okay, so in all these three cases we will calculate the change in entropy. So for reversible we will guess ds is equal to delta q by t, and we can write so since heat is added to the system, q is will be positive, so here this delta s always also will be positive. Okay, heat rejected, then delta q will be negative. Okay, so ds is equal to delta q by t will also be negative. Okay, if we talk about adiabatic, for adiabatic case this delta q is equal to 0, hence our change in entropy will also be 0. So for in case of reversible process, all delta s may be positive, negative or 0 depending on the value of, depending on the condition, that is whether it is heat addition, heat rejection or adiabatic. Next, if we consider irreversible process, for irreversibility we know that delta s generation will always positive. Okay, energy generation entropy generation is always positive. Okay, so we will be considering all the three options again. First is addition. Heat addition. So what will happen in case of heat addition? We know that ds is equal to delta s generation plus delta q by t, and since for heat addition q is equal to positive, so both terms will be positive, so ds will be positive. Okay, next if we consider heat rejection, so we know that in case of heat rejection q is equal to negative. Okay, so and we can write ds is equal to delta s generation plus delta q by t. Okay, but we know that this value is negative and this value is positive, so the value of ds here in case of heat rejection might be positive, maybe negative or 0. Any value is possible. Okay, so ds will be positive when let's say it is a heater is on. Okay, and heater is just turned on, so in that case although heat will be rejected, but what will happen, that generation will be much faster than the rate of reaction, so the ds will be positive. If we consider negative, let's consider that heater is just turned off, so when it is turned off, the heat will dissipate from the coil, but energy generation will be entropy generation will be 0. There won't be any entropy generation because there is no work input. In that case the value of ds will be negative. And if we consider if we consider heater at a steady state, that is in any time between its running, so we will see that rate of entropy generation will be equal to rate of entropy release. Okay, entropy generation will be equal to dq by t. Okay, so both so the entropy in this case will be 0. Now if we consider the third case, that is adiabatic irreversible. Okay, so we are considering irreversible, so we can write ds is equal to delta s generation plus delta q by t. Now since it is adiabatic, we can say that this term is 0, so ds will always be positive. Okay, always be positive. Okay, so let's talk about TS diagram. Okay, so like PV diagram, we are till now we are only looking at PV diagram. We can also draw TS diagram, that is temperature and entropy diagram. Okay, So like in PV diagram we found that the net work done in a cycle is equal to area of area enclosed by the cycle also is so that work done along a process is area under curve okay. In similar type we can say that area under the curve in TH diagram will represent heat transfer during the process, okay. And if we consider the net work done area enclosed by the cycle, so in TH diagram it will represent Q net, and by first law of thermodynamics Q net is equal to W net always, whether it is PV diagram or TH diagram. So in both the diagrams the area enclosed by the cycle will you can write it as work done, net work done, or Q net, okay. And one more thing, I have already told you that for reversible clockwise cycle are power producing so that is work done is equal to positive, okay. Now if we talk about reversible anti-clockwise or counter-clockwise cycle, so these are power absorbing, so here work done is equal to negative, okay. Now since we have already discussed the fixed mass entropy analysis, we will move to see the applications of entropy principle, okay. Applications of entropy principle. Okay, so the first application is thermal energy reservoir at single temperature. Thermal energy, let's say thermal energy at single temperature, okay. So this will include two things. First, thermal energy reservoir at a single temperature, and it can also be used in case of phase change, okay. If phase change also, the thermal energy that will be available will be at single temperature, that will be temperature of phase change, okay. So in these cases our entropy value is calculated by change in entropy calculated directly by delta Q by T, okay. Now with this delta Q you already know the heat during phase change or in thermal energy reservoir that is supplied to upon temperature, okay. Next, if we consider the second application is if we consider finite mass of solid or liquid. So in this case, let's say we have a mass ball of mass m, okay, and we increase its temperature from T to T plus dt. So during this process, the heat which will be required, the heat to be supplied, heat which need to be supplied to the ball will be delta Q is equal to mc dt, okay. Now we can calculate change in entropy. For this case, ds is equal to ds is equal to mc dt upon t, okay. So to calculate the total entropy, give me a minute, okay. So to calculate total entropy, we can directly integrate both sides. So we will get from 1 to 2, we will get S2 minus S1 is equal to MC ln of T2 by T1. Okay, so this is the relation for change in entropy during for finite mass of solid or liquid. Okay, now we will look for third topic is in case of ideal gas. So what will be the change of entropy in case of ideal gas? So we know that in the case of ideal gas, PV is equal to MRT is applicable. Okay, so we know that we can write ds is equal to del q by T. Okay, and this del q can be further written in form of du plus pdv. Okay, so I will mention this equation, how to write this equation in the later classes. We will directly use it here. Okay, by T. Okay, and from here we can write ds is equal to du by du by T plus for pdv by T. We can further write it as mc v dt by T plus mr dt. Okay, mr by v dv. Okay, so we can integrate both sides, like integrate this and this. From state 1 to 2, we will get S2 minus S1 is equal to mcv ln T2 by T1 plus mr ln v2 by v1. Okay, it can also be written in form of written as mcp ln T2 by T1 minus mr ln p2 by p1. Okay, and it can also be written in form of mcv ln p2 by p1 plus mcp ln v2 by v1. Okay, so these three equations are for change in entropy for an ideal gas. Okay, now we will move to next application. Sorry for the inconvenience. So this title should be entropy calculations. In various processes. Okay, next we will see what are the applications. Okay, now in next topic we will be seeing the application of entropy principle. So the first application here is transfer of heat. I mean for this is transfer of heat through finite temperature difference. Okay, let's say that a reservoir there are two thermal reservoir at temperature T1, reservoir 8 at temperature T1, and another is thermal reservoir B at temperature T2. Okay, let's say the heat is flowing from T1 to T2 at the rate of Q, or Q amount of heat is flowing from the higher energy thermal reservoir to lower energy thermal reservoir, and this whole system is considered to be a system. Okay, so if I talk about entropy change, okay, so net entropy change, if we talk about system, or we can consider that this is system boundary, so we can call like we can consider to be a isolated system. Okay, there is no interaction with the surrounding. Okay, both thermal energy reservoir 1A and B are included in the system. Okay, so we can say that thermal entropy change of universe is equal to delta S of system plus delta S of surrounding. Okay, now from here we can say that delta S of surrounding is 0 because there is no interaction with surrounding. Okay, now delta S of universe can be written as delta S of system, so delta S of system can be further written as delta S of A plus delta S of B. Okay, now this delta S of A having will be having the value of minus Q by T1, because when we observe the reservoir A, Q amount of heat is leaving from reservoir A, so here the Q should be negative. And if we observe the reservoir B, we will observe that Q amount of heat is incoming to the reservoir. Okay, so this key will be positive. Okay, so our delta S universe in case of heat transfer through a finite temperature difference comes out to be minus Q by T1 plus Q by T2. Okay, and we can further write it as Q into 1 by T2 minus 1 by T1. Okay, so from here we can see that if temperature T1 is greater than temperature T2, what will happen? That is ideally in the case, since heat is flowing from T1 to T2, so temperature T1 should be higher than temperature T2. So if temperature T1 is higher than T2, we can see that this value will be low and this will be value will more. So our delta S universe will be greater than 0. Okay, now if we consider from this we can see that the process is irreversible. Okay, irreversible. Delta S universe greater than 0 it means that the system is irreversible. Now if we consider T1 is equal to T2, let's see what happens. T1 is equal to T2, then delta S universe will be equal to 0. It means that system will be reversible. Okay, now let's consider one more possibility. If we say that T1 is less than T2, okay, let's consider that heat is flowing from low temperature reservoir to high temperature reservoir. In that case, what will happen? We will get delta S universe to be less than 0, negative. But we know that since delta S universe can never be negative, is always greater than equal to 0. So this process is impossible. Okay. Okay, now we will move to second application. Second application is quite famous. There are frequently questions asked in the examination through this topic, that is the mixing of two fluids. Or it is also known as we can consider it the same direction for mixing of two fluids or solid bodies in contact. Solid bodies in direct contact. Okay, so let's consider a system. Let's consider this to be a system. Okay, so the system is isolated Okay, let's say there is a partition in the system. So let's say this is the partition. Okay, now on the left side of partition, the gas is having mass m1, specific heat c1, and temperature t1. On the right side of partition, the mass have or you can say two solid body have mass m2, specific heat c2, and temperature t2. Okay, so let's say this is subsystem 1, this is subsystem 2. Okay, and this completes is a system. This is a adiabatic enclosure. So it may be mentioned that the mixing is adiabatic or anything like this. Okay, now let's say that if we remove the partition now, let's write it one more thing here. Let's assume that T1 greater than T2. Now let's say if we remove the partition. Okay, so we will get the system having mass m3 equal to a1 plus m2, specific heat c3, and temperature t3. Okay, and again, of course, it will be adiabatic enclosure. Okay, now let's see what we can do in this question. Okay, so from the first law of thermodynamics, we know that okay, we can say that from first law of thermodynamics, delta Q is equal to du plus del W. Okay, now here what will happen that since for adiabatic closure delta Q is equal to 0, so there is no work output, delta W is equal to 0, so du is equal to 0. So you can say that U initial is equal to U final. Okay, so from here we can write it as du1 plus du2 is equal to 0. So from here we can write m1 c1 t3 minus t1 plus m2 c2 t3 minus t2 equal to 0. Okay, using this from this we can get like find the value of t3, and when we obtain the value of t3 we will get is equal to m1 c1 t1 plus m2 c2 t2 upon m1 c1 plus m2 c2. So we can say that total heat capacity of the system for the system 1, subsystem 1 was m1 c1, heat capacity for 2 was m2 c2, and for the final system the total heat capacity was m3 c3, which can be further equated as m1 c1 plus m2 c2. Okay, think about it, you will understand what I am talking about. Okay, now this equation cannot be used in case of phase change, cannot be used for phase change. Okay, we haven't considered the phase change here, so this cannot be used in those conditions. Okay, now we have to calculate the change in entropy. We will see about how the change in entropy changes. So let's say that we are talking about total universe, total entropy change of the universe. Okay, so we can say delta S of universe, and we can write it as is equal to delta S of system plus delta S of surrounding. But since there is no interaction with surrounding, the walls are adiabatic, so delta S of surrounding will be 0, and we can write delta S of system is equal to delta S1 of subsystem 1 plus delta S of subsystem 2. Okay, now since both are gases, so we can write delta S1 as like we have discussed earlier for M1 C1 ln T3 by T1. Okay, and similarly we can write delta S2 is equal to M2 C2 ln T3 by T2. Okay, so if we say that if M1 C1 is equal to M2 C2 and we can write it is equal to MC, so we can write delta, I mean both are either identical, so we can say that we can use this equation here. Okay, equation here, and we will find T3 is equal to T1 plus T2 by 2. Okay, now if I say let's calculate the delta S universe from here. So delta S universe we can find by using like adding both of these equations. Now if we consider this condition here also, so we can directly write it as MC ln of T3 square by T1 T2. Okay, and we can reduce it to 2 MC ln T3 by root of T1 T2. Okay, so our delta S universe value can be represented as universe will be 2 MC ln of arithmetic mean of both temperatures upon geometric mean of both temperatures. Okay, I think you should get this. Now let's say that if there are n bodies, so we can directly use like is equal to n times of for n bodies MC ln again AM upon GM. Okay, now AM will be summation of temperatures divided by n, and GM will be equal to product of all the TIs. Okay, की power 1 by n. Okay, I think you can get this now. Okay, if there is n identical bodies, this formula is for n identical bodies. Okay, so when there are n bodies and all are identical, or there are n liquids and all are identical, so you can directly use this formula. Okay, now we will be moving to our next question. So not next question, but before moving to next application, let's discuss one more thing here. So from here we can see that since delta S universe should always be greater than or equal to 0. So what would it imply? It implies that this AM should always be greater than, what is it, that AM should always be greater than GM. Okay, now we can from here we can write this. Okay, but how would we prove that AM is always greater than GM? So let's look into geometrical method. So we will do that we will draw a semicircle with diameter of T1 plus T2. So let's say this is the diameter and we have drawn our semicircle. This is our semicircle. Okay, so from here we can get this is our center O, and this length is T1. Okay, this length is T2. Okay. Now this OE is known as AM, arithmetic mean. Okay, is will be equal to radius. Okay, is equal to T1 plus T2 by 2. Now at the intersection, like at the distance T1 and T2 from both ends, here we'll get a point B. Let's say this point is B, and when we like make a perpendicular line from here, let's say this intersected D. So this BD line is known as GM, which values whose values is root T1 T2. Okay, so we can say that diameter radius is always largest. Okay, and hence from here we can say that AM is always greater than GM. We have proven it geometrically. Okay, now moving to next application. So next application number, so this should be third application. So this is maximum work obtained obtainable from two finite bodies at T1 and T2 temperatures. Okay, so here what we can do, we can proceed by first consider two bodies. Let's say that we have two bodies. This is body 1. Okay, this is our body 2. Okay, now we have installed a engine between these two. Okay, so let's say that this is engine, heat engine. Okay, not exchanger. This is extracting heat Q1 from here and releasing heat Q2 at another reservoir, and produces work W which will be equal to Q1 minus Q2. Okay, now let's say that this is body 1 which is at M1, having M1 mass, C1 heat capacity, and temperature T1. Okay, similarly we have body 2 of mass M1, sorry, not M1, M2 specific heat C2 and temperature T2. Let's say that what will happen after we start the engine. So temperature of body 1 will keep on decreasing and will decrease until it's reaching some let's talk about now that it will keep on decreasing, and for body 2 the temperature will keep on increasing, but it won't happen till too long. Okay, at some point when the both bodies temperature will reach a same point, that is, let's say, TF. So at that point our heat engine will stop operating. Okay, now what we can say that what we have to do here, we have to obtain the maximum to calculate the maximum work that can be obtained from this type of system. Okay, so at initially we have to say that T1 must be greater than T2, only then this heat engine will start working. Okay, from here let's me tell one point that you should always know that the maximum work done will be obtained only if the heat engine will be reversible. Okay, so we will considering the reversible heat engine here, and so we can calculate delta S universe delta S universe is equal to 0. It must be applicable here. Okay, so this system, to obtain maximum work, must be reversible. Okay, since system is reversible, okay, so delta S universe would be equal to 0. Okay, now how would we calculate delta S universe? So delta S universe in this case can be written as, or in any case can be written in delta S of system plus delta S of surrounding. Okay, now one thing I forgot to mention there, since these two bodies are also having temperature variation, so we can consider this whole thing to be a system. Okay, so this is our system. Okay, now if now since there is no interaction between the system and outside the system, we can directly put delta S surrounding is equal to 0. Okay, now for system we can write system as delta S of body 1. Okay, of course body 1 plus delta S of body 2. Now don't forget there is another thing here, that is delta S of heat engine. Okay, while doing questions we generally forgot this. Okay, but since here this process is cyclic device, let's consider it a cyclic reversible device, so delta is heat engine will be 0. Okay, that's a different thing, but you should always mention it here. Okay, because if you don't mention it here, then there might be some mistake in some another question if you don't mention it here. Okay, now this delta S1 can be written as I have already mentioned, that in calculation of entropy for a finite mass system, we can calculate it using M1 C1 ln Tf by T1 plus M2 C2 ln Tf by T2. Okay, so by substituting both of these values, let's say that let's assume M1 C1 equal to M2 C2 is equal to MC. Okay, let's assume this. Okay, now if we assume this, what will happen, that our delta, okay, give me a minute. So applying it here, we will get delta S universe is equal to MC ln Tf square upon T1 T2, and which can be simplified as which is equal to 0, of course, from here only. Okay, so from here what we can get, from here we can get Tf square by T1 T2 must be equal to 1, only then this term can be 0. Okay, because ln of 1 is 0, so from here we can obtain Tf is equal to root of T1 T2, a very important point which you should remember here. Okay, so for maximum work obtainable from heat engine between two finite bodies, the final temperature of both the bodies will reach the GM value. Okay, the geometric mean value of both temperatures. Okay, now to calculate the maximum work, how can we calculate the maximum work? Tell me. So maximum work, we know from here that maximum work is Q1 minus Q2, so we can directly use it here. Okay, so okay, not Q, W max is equal to Q1 minus Q2, and we know we can write Q1 and Q2 as M1 C1. Now Q1, what is the heat transfer for Q1? Tf minus T1, Tf minus T1, minus for Q2 we can write it as M2 C2, Tf minus T2. Now if we consider M1 C1 equal to M2 C2 is equal to MC, so if we consider this thing, so we can write work done max equal to MC times of, so from here we will get okay, so here it should be T1 minus Tf, because since we are only taking the value of the magnitude value, so the T1 is greater than Tf, so it should be T1 minus Tf. Okay, and since it is T1 minus Tf, we can get it as T1 plus T2 minus 2 times of Tf. Okay, and from here we can write it as Tf is our root T1 T2, so we can write it as MC times of T1 plus T2 minus 2 times of root T1 T2. Okay, now we can write W max is equal to MC times of root of T1 minus root of T2 whole square. Okay, so this is our maximum work obtainable from this application, and this is the final temperature. Okay, both are important points here. Now we can move to next question. Okay, now one more thing we can mention here. In general, what happens in general, our delta S universe is greater than or equal to 0. Okay, in this case, although we have considered the cycle to be reversible because we have to calculate the maximum possible work, but in general, delta S is greater than equal to 0. So from here we can get that ln of Tf square by T1 T2 should be greater than equal to 0. From here we can say that Tf square should be greater than equal to T1 T2, or we can say this upon T1 T2 should be greater than equal to 1. Okay, from here we can get our value of Tf must be greater than equal to root T1 T2. Okay, now let's consider that as I have calculated here the maximum work done. Let's say that there is no work. Okay, or let's say that if work is equal to 0, then what will happen? If work is equal to 0, then our Q1 will be equal to Q2. Okay, or we can directly find from here, that is we can put work is equal to 0, and we will get Tf is equal to T1 plus T2 by 2. Okay, now here are we get here two equations, Tf is equal to this and Tf greater than equal to this. So let's consider what are these both values representing. Okay, so Tf is equal to T1 by T2 is representing the value of Tf when work done is equal to 0, when there is no work output for final temperature of two bodies, when there is no work delivered. Okay, now this Tf is greater than equal to, or let's say for maximum value, let's say according to maximum value. Okay, let's leave it here. So say that Tf max value is equal to Tf value equal to root of T1 T2, and when is this value? This value when work produced is equal to work done maximum. Okay, so from this we can say that this value of Tf for both bodies will lie between either T1 plus T2 will lie between T1 plus T2 by 2 comma root T1 T2. Okay, these two are extreme values. When this value is when no work is delivered, this value is when maximum work is delivered. So in general, the value of the system should be between both these temperature limits. Okay, now we will be moving to next application. So next application, which is also fourth application, is maximum work obtainable from a finite body and thermal energy reservoir. Okay, so let's say that the one body is having mass m, specific heat C, and temperature T1, and there is another which is connected to a heat engine, okay, and which further is connected to a thermal reservoir having a temperature T2, okay, or we can say the temperature T node, okay, and here temperature is T, okay. So this is thermal energy reservoir, okay. Now this heat engine producing some work W while absorbing heat Q from here and delivering Q minus W to thermal energy reservoir, okay. Now we have to calculate what will the maximum work that can be obtained. For maximum work we know that let's leave the maximum work here. First we will calculate what should be the value of work, okay. So first we will find the final temperature of the body, okay. So delta S universe should be what should be equal to delta system plus surrounding. Let's consider this whole part to be a system, okay. So we can write it as delta S of body plus delta S of heat engine plus delta S of thermal energy reservoir. So this value will be 0 because the process will be cyclic. And for delta S of body we can write it as MC ln. Let's say that final temperature that body receives will be T node, because at that point only the work output will be reduced to 0, okay. Now MC ln T node by T will be the delta S of body, and for the thermal energy reservoir we can calculate it by energy received del Q by T, and here del Q will be Q minus W by T node, okay. Now we know this that for system like this value should be, okay. Let's remove the value of M here because we are not considering the value of mass here, okay. Let's say that the body will having the heat capacity C and temperature T, okay. So next so this delta S value, delta S universe value should be always be greater than equal to 0. We know that, okay. Delta S of universe, okay. So from here we can tell that C times of ln T node by T will be greater than equal to W minus Q times of T node, okay. Now from here we can write work done should be less than equal to Q plus T node C ln T node by T, okay. So if we are talking about the maximum work output, so we know from here the work done should be less than equal to this value. So work done maximum is termed as Q times T node C ln T node by T, okay. Using this relation you can calculate, always find the maximum values. And one more thing, you can also expand value of Q here. So Q is CT, okay. I haven't mentioned it earlier, okay. So this value will be CT if we since we are calculating here per unit mass, okay. CT minus T node. T node is the base temperature, C delta T, okay. So C times of T minus T node plus, or you can write it as plus T node times of ln T node by T, okay. So using this equation we can calculate the value of maximum work done, okay. So this is also called the exergy of the finite body at temperature T, okay. We will study the exergy in next chapter 8. I think we should be starting by tomorrow or next lecture. Let's see when it happens, okay. Now there is one more device which I should mention to you. Next topic we will be seeing in this entropy chapter 8 entropy is control volume entropy analysis. Or we can also call it as entropy analysis for open system. Okay, so let's consider a control volume. So let's say this is a control volume. Okay, control volume. Okay, now let's say there is a flow, inside flow with I and exit flow E. Okay, well, let's do something else first. Let me draw like a diagram for the same entropy analysis for open system. Let's say this is our control volume. Okay, let's say this is our control volume. Okay, let's take this as exit. Okay, let's take that m dot E. At rate m dot E, the mass is losing, exiting, and mass is exiting at the rate of m dot I. Okay, m dot I. Okay, now let's say that shaft work W dot is produced continuously from the system, and a heat transfer takes place to the system at rate q dot. Okay, and the surface temperature is fixed at T. Okay, so from here we can say that entropy transfer rate can be written as q dot by T, the q dot energy transfer to the system at surface temperature of T. So we can write entropy transfer rate to be q dot by T. Okay, now from here we can write the continuity equation. The continuity equation can be written as mass entering the summation of mass entering the system minus summation of mass exiting the system can be equal to del m by del tau, rate of mass accumulation. So here this term represent net mass transfer rate, and this term represent rate of mass accumulation. In control volume. Okay, now we can also do energy equation. We can write energy equation for this system. Okay, we will use this diagram at end to describe the final formula. Okay, let's get it out here. So we can write energy equation here. So energy equation can be written as energy net. Okay, so energy inlet minus energy exit is equal to dE by dt accumulation. Okay, so what is energy inlet? Summation of m dot 1 or m dot I, then h plus v square by 2 plus gz. Okay, at inlet. Okay, minus summation at, okay, let me write it down, minus summation of m dot E at h plus v square by 2 plus gz at E. Okay, plus here we can add plus q dot, which is added to the system, minus wsh which is, or W dot, which is removed from, which is continuously provided from the system. Okay, and this total will be equal to del E by dt, rate of energy accumulation by the control volume. Okay, now if we talk about the second law inequality in case of this here, so how can we like, let's use this figure here. So we can write it as summation of entropy entry m dot I Si minus summation of m dot E Se, that is an inlet, this is an exit. Okay, plus rate of energy, entropy transfer. Okay, Q dot by T will be less than equal to del S by del tau. Okay, so this is this whole part is net rate of entropy transfer, and this is rate of increase of entropy of the control volume. Okay, and you can ask me why there is a less than equal to sign applied here. So it would be like net difference cannot be net difference cannot be total net difference cannot be accumulated inside the CV. Okay, so there must be some entropy, rate of entropy entropy that is not absorbed by the system, and that is termed as S generation. Okay, sorry, I mean there must be some additional entropy inside the system which is more than, which will be more than the difference of at inlet and exit. Okay, and another entropy rate transfer. Okay, so why is it difference? Because during the process, due to the irreversibility of the system, there should be some generation, entropy generation. Okay, now we will see what will the value of entropy generation. Okay, so we can write S gen is equal to del S by del tau minus summation of mi dot Si plus summation of me dot Se minus Q dot T. Okay, so this is our equation for S generation. But from second law we know that S dot generation is always greater than equal to 0. Okay, now if the process is reversible, then it S dot generation is equal to 0. Okay, now let's say that if the S generation of two system, let's say there are two system A and B, and the S generation of A is greater than S generation of B. What does it mean? It means that system A or system device A operates more irreversibly than that of system B. Okay, so the higher the value of S generation, more the irreversibility. Okay, so let's consider the case of steady state in this equation. For steady state, there will be no accumulation. Okay, so del S by del tau is equal to 0. Okay, so from here we can write okay, and for steady state, this continuity equation will also give at steady state. This continuity equation will also give summation of m dot I is equal to summation of m dot E. Okay, now we will use we can also use this steady state here, and here if we use steady state, this term will be 0 at steady state. Okay, and only this term will be left. Okay, now if we talk about S generation, from here we can write S dot gen is equal to minus summation of mi dot Si plus summation of m dot E Se minus q dot by t. Okay, now if I say that m dot I summation of m dot e can be written as m dot, so here I can reduce this equation as s dot generation is equal to, or we can like transfer all the terms here, so in that case we will get s generation plus m dot of s1 minus s2 plus q dot by t is equal to 0. Okay, from here we get s1, or since we have to calculate delta s, so delta s is equal to s2 minus s1, and we can obtain it as 1 by m dot q dot by t plus s generation divided by m dot. Okay, now there's from this diagram I have drawn here, we can directly write, if there is like no external heat interaction of the system, we can directly write the equation for the s generation, that is we can write ds by dt for the control volume. So ds by d tau for the control volume can be written as entropy and entry minus entropy exit plus s generation. Okay, now for if we consider steady state, let's use it here. For steady state, this value will be 0. Okay, so we get s dot generation is equal to s dot e minus s dot I. Now using this equation we can solve we can find the direction of the flow. So we know that s generation will always greater than equal to 0. So we will find the value of si. I mean, we will find the value of s, let's say s1 and s2 value we will calculate. Okay, then we will calculate the difference of s1 minus s2. Okay, if s1 minus s2 is greater than 0, then 1 to 2 flow होगा हमारा. Okay, now if say that s1 minus s2 is less than 0, okay, is less than 0. Okay, then what will happen? Then flow will be from 2 to 1. Okay, let's say that s1 minus s2 is equal to 0. It will mean that there is no flow. No flow. The fluid is stationary, or the whatever is available inside is stationary. Okay. Now there is something remaining which I should tell you. So the next topic we will talk about is first and second law combined. Okay. So this topic is combined equation for first and second law of thermodynamics. Okay. Okay, so we know from first law we know that for a closed system, for a closed non-flow system, we know that we can write delta q is equal to du plus pdv, and we also know that from second law, reversible process, we can write ds is equal to del q by t. So from here we can find del q is equal to tds. Okay, and using this we can get like tds is equal to du plus pdv. Okay, so this equation is the first tds equation. Okay, let me This equation is known as first TdS equation. Okay, now we know that H enthalpy is written as U plus PV, so we can calculate dH is equal to du plus pdv plus vdp. Okay, so using this relation here, we can find like another equation, TdS is equal to dH minus vdp. Okay, du plus pdv will be equal to dH minus vdp. Okay, so this equation here is known as second TdS equation. Okay, second TdS equation. So these two TdS equations are developed keeping internally reversible systems. Okay, for these are developed while considering that the system will be reversible, but since all the terms in these are property, H, P, S, U, V, all the terms are property, so this TdS equation are eligible for applicable to both reversible and irreversible. Okay, so there is no condition required to apply TdS equation. This is the most important point you should remember. And next we can also like similar to how we have found what should be the slope of the adiabatic and isothermal curves on PV diagram. We can now find what should be the slope of pressure and volume curves, constant volume and constant pressure curves on TH diagram. Okay, so we will discussing this topic next. So let's discuss it here. P is equal to constant and V is equal to constant curves on TS diagram. Okay, so from using first TdS equation, we can directly use first TdS equation. TdS is equal to du plus pdv. Since if we consider constant volume, V is equal to constant, so we can directly put it is equal to 0, and from here we can write TdS is equal to Cv dt. Okay, so from here we can write dt by ds at constant volume is equal to T upon Cv. Okay, now if we consider constant pressure, so we can write TdS is equal to dH minus vdp. Okay, and this term will be 0, and from here you can write TdS is equal to Cp dt, and we can write dt by ds at constant pressure is equal to T upon Cp. So we know, so these are both the slope of constant volume and constant pressure processes on TS curve. So from here we know that Cp is greater than Cv, so we will get dt by ds at constant volume is greater than dt by ds at constant pressure. Okay, so if we draw both curves on a plot here, let me draw it here. So this is a TS diagram. Let's draw a TS diagram. So here we will obtain two curves. Let's say this curve and this curve. Okay, so this curve is P is equal to constant, and this curve is V is equal to constant. Okay, so constant volume, the slope is more. Sorry, this is incorrect. Let me show it in this way. Okay, V is equal to constant. Okay, P is equal to constant. Okay, now we have discussed what should be the uh, slope of constant volume and constant pressure curves on TS diagram. Next, what else do we need to discuss here? So we will stop this lecture here. Next we will discuss uh, what should be the reversible adiabatic work in a steady flow system, and after that we will discuss few points regarding mixture of ideal gas. And in next lecture I will also show you how the how the entropy value decreases or increases, how entropy is higher, I said earlier, for same energy entropy is higher at lower temperature and lower at higher temperature. So these things I will show you with numericals, with few numericals in next lecture. And after next lecture we will organize a question session. Okay, so I will be stopping for today here. Thank you for the